Is Gathering going to win in the War Within? Hey, it's Soul, and today we're going to talk about why it will and how, because it's gonna take a little bit more explaining than you might think. By the end, we'll have come to a tentative answer, and you can decide for yourself if you think investing your time and energy into Gathering will be worth it. This is only a preview video, but it also involves some intermediate knowledge, with me assuming that you know how Dragonflight professions worked, as well as what the new stat concentration is and how that works. You can refer to some of my earlier videos for more of that. If you enjoy yourself, hit the like button, subscribe for more coverage, catch me live in the mornings on Twitch, and a little bit of warning, a lot can change here, we're in the beta. I'm dropping as many facts as I can while giving speculation based on said facts, which again can change. There are two basic tenets of Gathering. There's the Gathering itself, and then there's getting rid of what you've got by either using it in crafting or selling that stuff on the auction house. Both actions have changed a lot because of the Dragonflight expansion. Thanks to specializations, there are lots of cool perks that came for gatherers, like being able to pick up herbs and mine ore while mounted regardless of our class or the mount that we're using. Gathering felt a little bit more, immersive, I guess, more effective with stats and specializations to manage, and at least early on, it was very lucrative. Most Gathering mats were consumed very quickly, and it's partially thanks to the region-wide auction house. The region's demand for goods at the beginning of an expansion is, as usual, very high, and for a time the market did its, market things, fluctuating prices as needs changed. It'd be like, hey, it's a Spark Week, that means lots of people are going to have gear crafted or upgraded. It started out as very noticeable. But over time, the demand is overtaken by supply, while new items or balance changes were kind of shaking things up every now and then. Overall, the normal attrition of WoW expansion sets in, and the price of materials goes down. Fewer players are doing endgame. Some gatherers leave the market, which do kind of a little bit to stabilize prices. Today, as we near the end of Dragonflight, the market's in a state where players are trying to offload their wares to recoup their costs, maybe making investments for the future after some of these items become less ubiquitous, I guess. The region auction house just kind of exacerbated this whole supply and demand thing, and by that I mean when it's good, and when the crash happened, it crashed pretty hard. And with Dragonflight ending, we're going to hit this sort of market reset as the old items are replaced with something new. But also we're seeing what I think is a marked reflection of what Blizzard has learned now that they have like a whole ass expansion's worth of data to draw conclusions from and alter their philosophy. So what has changed? Mechanically, Gathering's going to feel the same as in Dragonflight, with one very noticeable difference. In Dragonflight, beginner gatherers collected rank 1 materials and eventually graduated from those and would collect rank 2s and 3s. They wouldn't see 1s anymore. But that's no longer the case. I don't have complete data, but I am going to guess that even with the highest possible skill, gatherers are still going to see up to maybe half of the materials that they gather, they're still going to be rank 1s. Now again, my data is limited. If anything, I should maybe keep it simple and just say that we're never going to completely graduate from rank 1s based on some previous blue statements. So far this doesn't sound like winning, I get that, but what's happening here is that these rank 1 materials are going to be an effective price floor of materials that didn't exist in Dragonflight, because rank 1 materials were in fact more rare than rank 2s or even 3s because they would eventually stop appearing. I predict that in the War Within, your rank 1 materials will move for two reasons. One is because you've refined them into rank 2s. Refining is still a thing, and the aim I think Blizzard is trying to set is that rank 2 mats will cost 5, maybe 10 times as much as rank 1s. It's something that they intended for Dragonflight, but because rank 1s would just stop appearing, that didn't work out. It was a big oversight on Blizzard's part. The other reason rank 1s will sell, and this is probably a gamble for Blizzard, is that people will actually want rank 1s to make goods with because they'll be very, very cheap. To understand this, we need to jump into the shoes of a crafting profession as well as a client, someone who wants gear or potions or whatever made for them. And sometimes that's the same person. You might want to pay attention to the screen. I'm going to change the B-roll, and I'm going to go through some examples. And of course, remember this is beta, and the values that you see are up for change, and in some cases they're broken. I'll be sure to point those out. First example, here we have a blacksmith who has just barely learned how to create an epic chest piece with the minimal number of spec points, but they at least managed to skill about as high as they could without depending on excessive gold or crafting orders. You can see here that regardless of the materials used, this blacksmith can't hope to create a max ranked item even when using concentration. The rank 3 material still asks for another 70 skill to make this just into a rank 4, after which the crafter can choose to blow a lot of concentration to make this into a rank 5. Now, I'm pointing this out, this just kind of tells us that early in the War Within, it is possible to craft rank 5s if we have like a lot of coordination and the best materials, as well as I guess a few more skill points here and there. I'm skipping a few details here, but to make these high level reagents, a blacksmith will need high level materials from you, the gatherer, at this stage of the expansion, meaning your rank 3s will be extremely valuable. That's early on though, and it sort of goes without saying that, of course, at the beginning of an expansion, gathering does win. But what about later in the expansion's lifetime? We have some interesting results to look at. Here's a blacksmith who has fully mastered their craft, who's trying to make not just epic leg plates, but fully maxed out leg plates with custom stats and an embellishment. You can see when rank 1 materials are used, the results aren't so great. At best, one would get a rank 3 piece, maybe a rank 4 with concentration. A scenario like this though, it's not realistic. Like, are we really going to see a client wanting to make the best gear with only rank 1 materials? Of course not, but we're going to talk more on this later. With rank 2 materials, the Master Crafter can technically make a max ranked item, but you can see that the concentration cost is extremely high. It takes up almost half of the crafter's total of 500. Most crafters won't want to take up an order like this without a considerable fee, but solo crafters should be pretty happy with this kind of result, knowing that they won't need the best materials to make what they want for themselves. Clients are most likely to come at crafters with rank 3 materials, and notice that a master crafter will be able to make this without the use of concentration at all, which is pretty awesome. The twist is that the client might not necessarily know that, and there's no obligation for the crafter to tell them. This is all to the benefit of the crafter, who can charge a lot for a top level craft, but also has a little bit of flexibility too, knowing that they can craft a particular item all day with the right mats. Which brings us back to you, the gatherer person. These rank 3 materials are going to be essential for helping to reduce the fees that crafters charge, and the expectation that Blizzard is trying to set, I think, is that these will be hard to come by. Let's look at some more examples. This one is a little bit broken, but it's worth taking a look at anyway. So here's another master blacksmith. They're fully spec'd out. They're trying to make alloy this time, which is used to make the epic gear that we were looking at earlier. In every case, the blacksmith can obtain a rank 3, but when using rank 1 and 2 materials, there's this concentration cost. Now, I don't imagine it to be very high for a rank 2, but knowing that you need a number of these alloys to make a single craft, it's not such a great idea for a blacksmith to use anything but rank 3 materials unless they're capped on concentration and they just want to spend that concentration for the sake of spending it. Consider again that this is a master smith too. It's going to be a while before we see these kinds of crafters pop up, meaning the demand for rank 3 materials is going to be, again, considerable even towards the later parts of an expansion. Here's a different example using alchemy, and keep in mind that just like earlier, these concentration values are broken, and I'm also missing profession tools and accessories, so I'm going to kind of edit this and add an additional 40 skill to what we see here on screen. Now, we can see the intent. Maximum quality is possible with the use of concentration, with lower concentration costs as the materials used are better until no concentration is needed at all. A mass crafter will be very interested in acquiring rank 3 materials cheaply so they can constantly craft and make a profit. But any other master crafter can get away with lesser quality, that is, much cheaper materials if they're making potions for themselves or just wants to sell a handful of these on the auction house. Now, this sort of makes you wonder, what is the point of rank 1 materials then? Not all, but most crafts need rank 2s or 3s in order to make a max quality craft. On the other end though, rank 1 materials are gonna be really easy to work with. There are few to no expectations there, there's no concentration involved, and while a rank 1 weapon is obviously gonna be weaker than a rank 5, when we consider future recrafts, shouldn't it be okay to settle for less, at least for a little while? It feels like the WoW team is trying to normalize the idea that, unlike Dragonflight, it's not rank 5 or none at all because the materials for lower ranked items are really going to be that cheap. Maybe. Big maybe. The possible cost of materials might open up a kind of junk market, a market for people who are totally okay with lower quality gear, potions, or other consumables. This is thanks to the way that these new rules work, including the fact that there are likely to be a lot of rank 1 materials circulating in the market. So who's winning here? Like I said, the gatherers are winning, and hopefully by now you understand how. Rank 3 materials aren't just needed for high level crafts, but sustained high level crafts. If there's a situation where, say, all the rank 3 materials were to dry up, yeah, crafters can still make the highest end items, but they'll also be burning through concentration very quickly, resulting in a lower supply of available talent. It's likely to result in rank 3 materials being very expensive, and the market's going to respond with upfront fees to make up for the possible cost in concentration. The only material market that I'm kind of worried about is skinning, as that always tends to suffer with oversupply first, but I'll talk a little bit more on that in just a bit. Reagent crafters will also win because these items will also depend on max quality materials. There's a profit to be made in that space too. The endpoint crafters of potions, armor, and so on, they're also going to win. Now, it's not going to be with every single item across every profession, but crafters who fulfill work orders will have lots of opportunity to dictate and negotiate fees. In a twist, the clients can win as well, because they know that anyone who answers their request for a rank 5 can do it, there's no more RNG involved, and later on they can shop around for a good price. They can maybe run into a master crafter who does not need to use concentration and maybe negotiate a fairer price. Of course, all these takes are very idealistic, they're speculative, and in the end, we can't control what players do, but the stage is set for wins all around thanks to all this thought that the team put through. What's interesting and horrifying is that in the end, Blizzard can exercise a lot of control over the war within the economy by simply putting their thumb on the scale and controlling how much or how little rank 3 reagents drop, as this would have a devastating if not quick impact on the market. If prices are too high, Blizzard could just be like, hey, let's let more rank 3s drop, and it goes the other way around too. In that case, the market would respond by refining mass quantities of materials and then sell rank 3s at high prices to keep up the supply. In a situation where, say, skinning materials were too plentiful, if they were to cut the rank 3 drops, suddenly you were going to see a bunch of skinners gathering around town just doing nothing but refining. I don't know if Blizzard would actually do that, but changing the drop rate would be very effective, while in Dragonflight, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference thanks to their dependence on RNG. So those are my takes. I think Gathering's going to be in a good spot overall, lots of gold is going to change hands, and Blizzard has the knobs to regulate the market in pseudo-natural ways. But let us know what you think in a comment below. Like the video if it was useful, subscribe for more coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.